Right. Hi, very good morning to both of you. It's me, Bhaskar Manoharan. I hold 13 plus years of industry experience. I started my career as an hardware engineer, followed by desktop support, system administration, and so on. And I'm currently serving as a senior technical training manager in a private firm. I have trained 11,000 plus professionals globally on virtualization and cloud technologies. As a corporate trainer, freelancer, and guest lecturer as well. I deliver programs mostly on virtualization and cloud technologies along with security and backup. So when it comes to security, I'm a certified ethical hacker and I hold CH version 10 certification. And apart from it, I also hold certifications on VMware and AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud as well. All right. So I want both of you to introduce at least for a minute, and you can share your expectation from this webinar, and then I'll take it forward. Over to you guys.
Hi,
Yeah,
this is
Bhaskar.
Abhishek.
Hi.
So currently I'm having a 7.7 plus year of experience
Okay.
with the I'm just working on network security part and the cloud thing. So I
Okay.
just move on to the cyber security thing and I want to make a career on this field. So just curious about to learn those things, how it
Hmm.
is happening and how I can move on to into the cyber security thing. That's it.
Okay. So currently you are in which role?
Currently, I am having a experience of 7 years and working as a senior engineer.
In terms like which technology you work for?
Network security and cloud.
Oh, you work on network security. All
Yeah.
right. Thanks for joining. And moving on to the other
Uh,
person.
Hi, Bhaskar. Jayant here. I have
Hi.
12 years of IT industry.
Hmm.
I was working in the domain storage,
Okay.
SAN part, and current. I was looking into the different technologies to move on to different domains as well. So I thought,
Hmm.
okay, cyber security will be the right domain. So I thought of okay, having a have a try on this
Hmm.
technology.
Okay.
So rightly, I was in storage architect, but I don't know
Hmm.
whether this cyber security suits me or not. I literally don't know. Just I
Hmm.
want to give a try. I want to jump into different domain. That is the
Agreed.
reason. Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay. Yeah. So Ajit, you're also in the bridge. So wanted to check with you why you are interested. What's your understanding on cyber security and why you wanna be part of this webinar?
Uh, by the way, before going on with that, I have a few interest how the hackers would be playing a vital role on the company's database and how they
Hmm.
would be getting in and how they would be getting exited by stealing our informations.
Hmm.
So it's like a crispy things to get
Hmm.
more eager how that would be going on in this surrounding and environment.
Okay. All right. All right. Yeah. Thanks for your curiosity and fact to the point. So let's get started. So I would be using whiteboarding for this session so that it helped me to brief the stuffs over writing. Okay. The first thing which I noticed as part of the expectation is whether am I be fitting into a cybersecurity role, or my current role demands me to be a storage engineer or a system engineer. Will I be able to be part of cybersecurity? Answer is yes. The reason is if you look into the top trending technology courses, out of 10 you see one program on security. Security in terms of network, security in terms of ethical hacking, security in terms of Bitcoin, We call it as blockchain. So one or other way, there is an industry demand on security. Okay, so how it starts? It starts from you. It starts from your phone. So let's take an example. You have a phone, right? By default, if you would like to log into your phone, you must and should provide a PIN or a pattern password. Do you agree with me?
Yeah.
When you
Yes.
say
Yes, sir.
a hand, yeah, just think about when you say a handheld device, which is very important to you. Okay, it is part of your life. Without phone, we are nothing. Okay, it's part of our life now. Okay, when you say a handheld device which has got a SIM, which has got your own accounts, so you have a protection, you have a security. Think about an organization. I'll take an organization for an example, Nestle. Okay, they have wide variety of products, over 200 products. Okay, and they have their own IT team, they have their own production team, testing, development, backup, security, monitoring. So there are multiple teams, right? Say like 20 plus teams. Okay, for all of them, data is the key. Their everyday work is determined in terms of how much data they have produced. For an example, if it is a production company, how many let's take a milk product by Nestle. Okay, let's say how many milk product has been produced. It's in numbers, right? And let's take there is a sales team. So sales team will have tied up with multiple distributors. Again, it's a number. Okay, everything revolves around the data. It can be a company policy. It can be a it can be a best practice document. It can be a guidelines document. Okay, it can be a to-do list. So you take any organization for that matter, data is the key. Their business revolves around data. So every organization would have a security in policy, a security in production. They should enable a security in production, and they should have multiple layers of security. Okay, let's take a typical office environment. This is an office floor. Just think like this is a gate. Okay, so the security is defined in terms of number one, a physical security. Other one is logical security. So physical security involves a security guy who stops at the gate. Okay, and once you enter into the floor, there will be an access card to access to your respective floor, work floor. Okay, and then if you want to get into your floor, and again you will have one more access. Let's take you have a cabin which is dedicatedly provided. Again, to enter into you need a key. So there is a physical security and there is also a logical security. Logical security involves software. It can be a username and password. Okay, number one. Number two, it can be a handheld devices, or it can be a access card which is chipped in with a physical SIM, which acts like an RFID, radio frequency ID. Okay, and then you may have a password like security tokens. We call it as RSA token. So it can be like this. Number four, security in terms of firewall. So every company will have a firewall. Example, Windows has got built-in firewall, Windows operating system. Similarly, organizations will have firewall like Fortinet firewall, Cisco firewall. Okay, so it depends on the application that you use, that they use. There are physical firewall hardwares and also software defined firewall devices, right? So you see here, there are multiple layers of security. This is what an organization demands. So no one would be ready to compromise a data breach. Okay, because data is a key and their business revolves around it. And you as an engineer, it's your part of the checklist, like how you protect your phone with a pin and a pattern password, right? Similarly, organization would like to protect in a such a way that it will not allow any intruders or attackers from an external access through an external access. All right, yeah. So anybody, any question on understanding security as a topic? Now you know why you need a security, right? All of you.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Any question?
No, sir.
No question till now.
Okay, okay. So now let's come to we understood what is the use or what is the need of security. Okay, now let me ask you a question. Who who can provide a security? So this is more like this, like you have a house. So if you want to secure your house again, you will have a question to whom we can approach or who can act like a best security. So in physical security involves security companies. Okay, like example, Black Cat Security Service. So in terms of organizations, how do you secure your organization? So we need tools or softwares. In a physical security, modern days, camera acts like a secure system and a security guard. Two things are primarily acted in, set up in physical environment, whereas a software, we call it as intrusion detection system, IDS. Okay, and also we have something called intrusion prevention system. What is intrusion detection system? So as soon there is a external thread which is entered into your network, let's take, you have an office, your office is fully protected with a VPN, a firewall, okay, and you have a intrusion detection system software which is already set up. Okay, let's take using an external IP, I'll call it as internet. Over internet, somebody is trying to get into your network with a specific port and a service. The most commonly attacked port are NTP port, network time protocol. Okay, and other ports like RDP, it uses a port number 3389. Okay, and also SSH port, we call it as port number 22. So these are the most commonly attacked ports in any given organization. So whenever someone enters which is outside provisioned network, let's take, I have a CIDR range, we call it as classless interdomain routing range. So in this I'll define an IP, example 192.168.1.x. So you see in your laptop, most of the time we use class C IP address. Similarly, we can use either class A or class B IP addresses, which is defined by IANA, Internet Assigned Network Authority. So they have provided a range that we can use it in a given organization. So whenever an external IP which is try to intrude into an organization, usually an internet IP address cannot attack a private IP address directly. Okay, so let's take there is one web server, or Nestle has got a, let's call it as nestle.com. Okay, nestle.com. Nestle.com is a domain name. Okay, this domain name in the backend is connected to a web server. Web server is nothing but a server where we host websites. Okay, let's take there is one file called index.html. This is the web page where an attacker is trying to attack, because when you say a domain, the domain would resolve to a specific public IP address. Let's take an example. Ping cloudforgreen.com. So if you all see, it is resolving to a public IP address, right? So the attacker knows a specific public IP address. So what he will do in this case, he will access this 209.126.106.209.106, some IP address which is set up inside the organization. He will try to intrude. So what he will do, he will keep this IP address and try to hack using individual ports. First he will try with port number 22. Hey, can I try to access, or let's see whether this port is opened or not. He will try to intrude using NTP. He will try to introduce using 3389 port. So he will check each port. Okay, and if any of the port is opened, so what he will do, he will try using a random username and password. Pretty simple. So the layer of attack is like this. First he will check like this. For an example, in my case, if you see, mstsc is a shortcut command. Okay, so he will try to connect. This is a random IP address. He will try to connect like this. Okay, let's take that specific IP address is enabled 3389 port in the backend. So when that port is enabled, and it will ask, or it will prompt to search for username and password, to provide username and password. So what he will do, you will try random username and password. Most of the Windows machine, the username is by default, there will be a username called administrator. So you got an username. What is the one thing left with now? All of you?
Password.
Absolutely. So now you will try with random passwords. You'll try with the password. Okay. Now, if it is a newcomer to the hacking world, so he will just try with one or two passwords. But a hacker who is into the industry over many years, let's take he's a black hat hacker. Black hat hacker is the highest level of hacker, so has got access for the entire system. Or he primarily used for his own gain. He usually hack for his own gains. So he use hundreds of tools in the market. Okay, so that it generates an automated password for him and then allows a session inside that machine. Once he access one single machine, see, let's take, there is a network of 500 VMs. Okay, if he hacks one of the machine, right, he can easily pull information like this. Let's take, he hacked a machine called domain controller. Okay, this is the first thing you will do. So we have a lot of tools are available in the market. One of the tool is called advanced IP scanner. For an example, I'll show you that tool to you all. Advanced IP scanner. You know, this simple tool can help you to pull informations like whether your network has got smart TV, whether your network has got Wi-Fi router, whether your network has got firewall, whether your network has got a router, right? Whether your network has got mobile phones, we can pull all those information at one shot. For an example, this is free to download. Anyone can download this tool. I'll download this tool. One moment. That's not the right software. Let me. It's one moment. It's here. So that's a different product altogether. See, I told you, IANA, Internet Assigned Network Authority, it's an consortium who usually segregates classes of IP, and they have provided classes of IP like class A, class B, class C, D, and E, out of which we mostly use between class A and C for private IP addressing. Out of this, currently, what I have seen, most of the home networks are either in 192 series, this series, or they are in 10 dot series or class A series. So in my environment, it automatically detected 192 series because if you see here, see my gateway is 192.168.1.1. So this is my local Wi-Fi router IP address, which usually the gateway address usually in your home also it would be pointed to your router. Wi-Fi router. For an example, in my case, if you see, if I type 192.168.1.1, so it goes to my local Wi-Fi router. Can you see this, all of you? So same
Yes,
thing.
Yes,
we
sir.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Even when you type ipconfig/all in your laptop, it will give you a default gateway. That means it is connecting to a local Wi-Fi router. If you are at home, it will be connected to a Wi-Fi router. If you are in office also will have it will connect to a gateway again. So office also will have a VPN gateway. It can be either VPN gateway IP address or it can be a local router IP address, or it will be a masked IP where for you it will be visible as a 1.1, but actually they would have masked to a different IP address in the backend or a different port in the backend, so that they don't want you to look into this specific router information in production environment. They will hide this info in production. All right, so now I have an IP range between 1 to 254 because 0 and 255 I cannot use. They are reserved for broadcasting. So I can have an IP address between 1 to 254, which means in any given network I can have 254 IP address usable. So when I click on scan, AAML Lappy is my laptop. Okay, and if you see, the manufacturer is Chongyung Fugui Electronics. So this is a Lenovo IdeaPad. I think most of the time it is manufactured in Taiwan. So it may be one of the company in Taiwan. Okay. So here you see, I just scanned this network and I could able to pull the information like TP link. There is one more router in my network. there is one more router in network with the TP link. There is one more TP link router. You see here. So it hits to multiple TP link routers in my network. And you can also see Intel Corp. When you see Intel Corp, this is can be a desktop or a laptop. When you say Dell Inc., this is a server. So for an example, you see 192.168.1.20, it is connected to an iDRAC in my network. I can show you this. See here, if a hacker gets to know a Dell server which is available in network, you'll simply try with the default password like this. For an example, you see. So he can hack a machine like this. So by default, a Dell server comes with a username called Calvin and the password itself as Calvin. When he tries with the default password, username and password, he can hack into a machine. So once he gets an access, he can control the server. You can see here, he can update a firmware, he can change an operating system. In fact, he can crash the OS. He can change the storage order if there is a RAID controller, right? He can make any changes to the RAID. So if you see, I have a virtual disk. There is a virtual disk which is created through physical disk. Currently the machine is in powered off state, that's why we don't see, but actually there is a physical disk. Through that I have created a RAID, a single disk. It's called a virtual disk. Okay. So just by hacking one machine in a simple local network, how many machines I could able to view now? All of you?
More than 10.
Yeah. So think about an organization where they have like 500 plus machines. I can pull all these 500 machines at one shot. Okay. Hope you're all understanding this. Yeah. Now it's a time
Yes,
for
sir.
you to put any questions you have. I want you guys to speak out if you have any questions for me, so that based on your question, I'll proceed further. Jayant or Abhishek, do you have any question?
Yeah, all good, Bhaskar. No
Yeah, I
question.
don't have any questions. Yeah, all good as of now. Yeah.
Okay. Abhishek?
No question, Bhaskar.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's understand the objective of learning ethical hacking or the objective of securing an organization. So yeah, why security? Evolution of technology focused on ease of use. Okay, why we need to secure? Because see, every day there is a new technologies coming up into the market. If you ask me 20 years before, we don't know what you mean by Android operating system, and now Android is ruling the market on a smartphone. Okay, so we got to know there is a phone, and to log in or get inside the phone, we need a pattern or we need to provide a pin. Okay, we know how to log into a desktop or a laptop, but we didn't know that, or we were not ready to accept that there is a handheld device which also required a security. Right, increasing complexity of computer infrastructure administration and management. Okay, see, if you take an organization, your organization is made up of many departments. As I mentioned, at least 20 departments, right? So let's take production. Within production, there is again 5+ departments. Okay, let's take IT, and then within IT, like IT hardware, and then server management, network, storage, backup, monitoring. So there are many departments. So each department uses their own hardware. Example, for hardware management, we use iDRAC, ILO, ILOM. These are all remote management, where using this interfaces, we can control a server remotely. We can install an operating system. We can power on a machine, power off a machine, update a patch, update a firmware, and then create a write control and other stuff. Okay, so server, there are different type of servers. One is tower server, two blade server, three rack servers. There are different servers. Networking medium, routers, switches, firewalls, repeaters, and so on. Storage, it can be object storage, file storage, it can be a block storage, it can be a containerized storage. Modern days we are hearing something called containerized storage that runs on Docker and Kubernetes. Backup, file level backup, folder level backup, drive level backup, OS level backup, VM level backup. Okay, we have multiple levels of backup. Monitoring is available for all computer nodes, which enables SNMP. So wherever we have a node which is available network, we use an SNMP trap to monitor that resource remotely. So every day the physical infrastructure is growing enormously because we are generating a lot of data. There is a survey says we are generating 17 million requests in Twitter every day. Okay, and there is a survey stating that more than 186 million of voice-based requests are raised to our assistants. Example, Google Assistants. Okay, so every day we use these devices to generate a lot of data. Okay, and we need a space, we need a system in place to make to manage them. So that's how every day the infrastructure is getting complex. Okay, the technology itself getting advanced, so we need a secured system to manage all this. Decreasing skill level and needed for exploits. See, if you don't have a skill to save your phone, let's say we are all see, we speak a lot about security and all, right? See, we speak a lot about security. We maybe he may be a um, uh, chief security officer. Okay, he may be a CSO in an organization, but when you go and check at his home, he would have never changed his Wi-Fi password since many years. Okay, the Wi-Fi password or Wi-Fi device that is configured at his home, the best practices that needs to be changed every 90 days. Every 90 days, the Wi-Fi password, the web key or WPA key that you set in a Wi-Fi password, that needs to be rotated every 90 days, and it should not continue with the old password. Let's take old password that you have kept like admin 123. You should not keep it like admin 1234, because again, an hacker who knows that old password, he will add extra 4 and they will check. Okay, yeah, so he would have not said this. So it's not that he is not skillful, but negligence, or he may thought that no one will hack his device, or its home is secured. No. So just think about an high paying proficient is negligent to change his home Wi-Fi network password. Think about a normal person, a person who never heard about computer security and all. Think about their perspective. Okay, they would have never, they don't know like what to do. They'll scared to touch that Wi-Fi router itself. If Wi-Fi is not working, they'll raise a complaint. Okay, and the guy, the support guy will get into his house, he'll just reboot, or he will disconnect and reconnect few things, and he will bring it back. So decreasing skill level needed for exploits. So exploits are always ready or waiting outside. So they just jump in to hack into your system. Direct impact of security breach on corporate asset base and goodwill. So every day the hack or threat is enormously growing, and the possibility of hacking those devices are multifold increased. Okay, so you need security in terms of protecting your network environment, or if you are accessing a application which is outside your network. The need for security is, if you are working in a closed system, if you are within an office, right, the limit of attack is limited. Attack is limited. Just think you are working from home. Let's take, there are 500 employees. Okay, what they will do, they all connect to different Wi-Fi routers which is near to their places. Some of them they may connect to a home network, some of them may connect to an hotspot, some of them may connect to a free Wi-Fi also. So wherever you see a free word in computer, that means it always comes with the risk. I want you to remember, whenever you say free Wi-Fi, it always comes with the risk. If you connect a free Wi-Fi, that means somebody is stealing your information. Not all free Wi-Fis are safe. I'll give a simple example how a free Wi-Fi can hack your information. So there is a free Wi-Fi in a cafe. Let's call it as cafe day. So there's a free Wi-Fi. So what you do, you take your laptop and connect to them. Just think about a hacker who's already in the network, who's just waiting for you to just connect to the network. As soon the device is active, so already he is running the scanner tool, right? Advanced IP scanner. He detected there is a laptop, okay, with an IP 192.168.1. Let's take 23. Just using a command ping, I could able to tell whether it is a Windows or a Linux machine. I'll show you a demo to you. See, my laptop is a Windows machine. My laptop is having an IP address 192.168.1.14, right? If I ping, it will respond back stating getting a reply from 128. If you see now, ping 192.168.1.14. Can you see here? Time to live value is 128. Can you see this? All of you? This means
Yes, sir.
this is a Windows machine. Okay. Now, if I ping to iDRAC, iDRAC IP is 120. That is runs on Linux or Unix in the backend. If I ping to this, you see now, it is responding from 64. So this means it is a Linux or a Windows. Similarly, I have a gateway, right? 192.168.1.1 that is built on Linux or Unix. If I see now, it is also responding from 64. Just by ping, I'll get to know. Let's take, I got a ping, a reply for with 128 TTL value. So then he says, oh, it's a Windows machine. So Windows machine has got a list of vulnerabilities which is available. Okay. So what he will do, he will create an exploit. We use a word called exploit. There is an application called Metasploit. Through this, I can push voluntarily a message to this machine over a network. I can communicate over a network. I can send messages over network. I can try to view which are the ports are opened on this network. on this machine, and then I can easily hack this machine. Do you agree, all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
this one employee who is working from home, just think he is connected to VPN. Okay, once he hacks using a local IP address, he can view the VPN network also. He can scan the VPN network also. Once he takes control of this, he can scan, but the impact is minimal because usually VPN is secured in a way that you cannot pull much information out of it. You will get only the VPN gateway IP address, and all other requests it will drop. We will block it most of the time. Okay, but the chances of hacking his machine is high. So let's take, I'll keep one worm in it. I'll keep worm is nothing but like a virus in it. I'll keep one worm inside this machine. Whenever he goes to office, whenever he connects to corporate network, right? Suddenly this worm starts flooding into, we use a word called flooding. It can start flooding into corporate network. There it may impact the gateway, there it may impact the router, there it may impact the network computer which is connected to the same network, right? The risk is high. All right. Yeah. Now I don't want to take too much. Security is very important, and the need for security is much in demand in an organization. And why we need to secure? Because data is very important to us. So every organization need to protect their data. Now, there is a website called Am I Pond? So through this website, you can also figure out whether your Gmail ID is already compromised or your Outlook ID is already compromised or not. So till now we were discussing about corporate hacking and all, right? See, now I'll show you an example. Excuse me. Have I been pwned? Yeah. So here I'll give you the link, or you guys can search like this. I want all of you to do along with me. Search like this. Have I been pwned? Have I been pwned.com, and then there is a section called email or a phone format. So you just key in your personal email address. Let's take, I'll key in my personal email address, which I'm using over 15 plus years. So it shows found in 6 data breaches, which means my ID was compromised. Where and all? One through Big Basket in 2020. So it will give a clue like when and all it is exposed. So suffered a data breach that exposed over 20 million customer records. I'm a user of Big Basket. I have an app. So my data is used by somebody. Okay. And then I used an app called House. I used LinkedIn. I used Zoomcar. So either through an app or through a browser application, I would have logged in and the hacker would have hacked that specific database. Okay. To answer to Ajit's question, how hackers hacks a specific database or specific network. Simple example is they will search whether a specific port is opened or not. Example, they'll search for a port 22. They'll search for a port 3389. If the port is available, they'll use an application. Okay. Example, Metasploit is an application. They'll use an application and then they will hack into that machine. To answer very specifically on database hacking, we have something called SQL injection. So this is the word we use, SQL injection. This is one of the hacking method that we hack into a traditional databases. So how SQL injection works? Let's take a website called Chicago University. There is a section called student login. Okay, just think I'm a hacker. Okay, I want to hack Chicago University. So in the back end, for any application you take that matter, there are two things. One is called front end. Front end is a place where you will key in username and password, and the back end is called database, where it will go and verify whether that information is available or not. Let's take MySQL is a database that runs in the backend. So every database there is something called table. Every table has got something called rows and columns. So user information would be stored under a specific table. Okay, so here with the help of SQL injection code, I can use SQL codes in place of username, right? What I'll do, I'll copy this code, right? And in place of password, I'll keep it blank. In place of login, I'll click login. So if the database has to validate the username, it has to query, right? We use a word called query, DB query. When it queries a specific code, it is like a query, right? There is a username. And in place of providing username, I'll write a code. Okay, I'll mention like select. There is a function called select star a database and get password. So instead of providing a password, I use a query like this, select the specific database and get a password. So when I query this, okay, it will respond back stating, so usually a normal message like user login is username is incorrect or password incorrect, right? In place, it may get me a password of a random user. Number one, this is one possibility. Number two, I'll write a code in a such a way that it will not take my password, rather it will allow a login to me. Instead of setting a password, I'll, with the help of that code, when I execute, it will say username is valid and it will allow a session. It will open a profile for him. Okay, so once he gets inside to that DB, once he logs in, he can make changes or he can create multiple fields, or again he execute one more code like this and get into the database. Okay, hope you're understanding this, all of you.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so I'll give you some sample SQL injection codes. Can you see? I told you select, right, guys? See here. So I'll also put this in the chat. I mean, when you get a time, you guys can. Okay. Yeah, you can just search like SQL injection. There is no chat function able to share to me, but you see here, SQL injection is a web security vulnerability that allows an attacker to interfere with the queries. I used the word query, right? Do you remember
Yeah.
that an application makes to its database? It generally allows an attacker to view data they are not normally be able to retrieve. This might include data belonging other users, any other data that the application itself able to access. In many cases, attacker can modify or delete this data, causing persistent changes to the application. So through that code, right, you can access the database and delete the database admin account itself, or you can create a new database admin itself, or you can change the password itself. So you can take the complete control of the DB and you can do whatever you want. All right. Yeah. So I just want to halt it here to take your questions for the next 10 minutes. So what is your understanding now, And do you think cyber security is very much in need in your production environment, both of you?
Yeah,
Yes.
obviously it is required
Yeah.
because
So
data
So,
now,
security
sir,
is
I just wanted to know, like, for
hmm,
the cyber security, it's like a practice, or we should have learn ethical hacking and all.
okay, I'll explain the differences between cyber security and ethical hacking. Cyber security, it's for securing entire network. So this is
So it's
mostly,
like a practice, correct?
yeah. So I'll put it in this way.
Yeah.
Cyber security, it's like a, as you said, it can be a practice, okay, or it can be a protection to entire network. So when you say cyber means cyber world, anything that works on digital world, we are securing the digital world. Okay. When you say ethical hacking, it is a role. A person who act like an ethical hacker, who acts as an ethical hacker, whose primary work is to defend. He will defend against the attacks. Okay, it's a role. It's like an ethical hacking. It's nothing but a set of roles where the primary intention is to save an organization data. They need to defend against the external attacks. Okay, so to make it more clear, I wanted to bring this. Here it is. Here refers to a security professionals who apply their hacking skills for defensive purpose. Can you see this word defensive?
yeah.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, you can shoot me if you have any other question.
So what will be the course content for the cyber security?
Okay. Yes. So let's see top trending certifications. So I want to segregate into three sections. One is beginner, intermediate, professional, professional or advanced level. So for beginner, you need to start learning from Security Plus from CompTIA. CompTIA is an organization who provides, usually they are famous for two certification. One is called H plus, that is hardware. Second one is called S plus security. Okay. For intermediate, you can start with CH, Certified Ethical Hacker from EC Council. Professional, CISSP. Okay. Certified Information Security Professional. Okay, so you can take this three certifications. So S plus anyone can easily learn and then they'll gain the knowledge. But if you ask me, these two are trending certifications in the market. For a manager role, let's take something you want to do it on the management side. We have something called CISM.
Okay, after completing this course, so that
Yeah.
which level of certification I can go and
See, my suggestion is if you are starting, better to start with intermediate like this, CH.
okay.
Okay, and this is one of the industry demanding certification now, and the latest version is called CH version 12.
Okay.
You can go with this and you complete this, and then you can move to CASSP and all. This is like scenario based question, and the training and costing also is very high. Training itself would come around 50K, and certification around in and around 50K. It'll like you need to keep 1 lakh. Whereas CH, you can complete both training and certification in under 30K.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have 2 more minutes left, and please let me know if you have any question or anything specifically you want to ask, that I'm happy to help with.
Yeah. So by the end of this course, we can
Mhm.
able to achieve this CEH and we can go for the CISSP. You are saying like this?
Yeah, definitely. See, this is a just a webinar to give a clue, right? What is happening in the market and why you need to learn, and then what are the possibility of kicking start with. So, so once you learn example CH, right? I can show you the module list to you. So what and all you would be learning as part of it. So as part of CH, you
So the
learn a
CEH is the part of the cyber security, right?
yeah, cyber
Okay.
security. Yes. So
Mhm.
cyber security and ethical hacking, just one thin line. Cyber security, it's a practice, right? And ethical
Yeah.
hacking is nothing but the role that you would be doing, and it's a defined as an hacker. Ethical hacker who defends against threats. Simple. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, cyber security and ethical hacking, one and all the same, if you ask me. So you would be learning about reconnaissance, which involves pre-check before the attack. Scanning, you'll scan once you gain an access about the basic information. You will scan, gain an access, maintaining access, and covering attacks. This is what you will do. And this is like very basics. I just created this talk. So if you want to see more detailed documentation in terms of number of modules that would be covered, it's already there in our website. So you learn about footprinting and reconnaissance, scanning networks, enumeration, vulnerability analysis, system hacking, malware threat sniffing, social engineering, denial of service, session hijacking. You learn about IDS, intrusion detection system, firewall. So yeah, all these modules. Additionally, you will learn IoT and OT hacking. So this is also part of the training.
What is OT?
Like OT is like it's a new terminology that we use, which doesn't use internet, which is like
Okay.
a local machine, like local network.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we have this module in case if you like to get started, you can start with CH. So latest they released very recently CH version 12. They have very recently released. But I want you to start with 11 because for 12 there is no sample exam questions are available. If you are taking up that exam, to get those sample questions, it will take some time. Maybe it will take like 3-4 months. And for 11 there are a lot of online sources are available where we actually get to the sample exam questions. So there are some torrents are available to get the sample exam questions. So if you are certification focused, if you want to do a certification immediately, you go for version 11. Or if you want to do a certification little later, you just need a knowledge on version 12, then you can go for version 12. All right.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we are end of the program now. So if there is any other questions, anything you want to ask, kindly feel free to reach out to Ajit. Ajit,
Yes, sir.
so he will assist you further. And
Sure.
thank you so much for your patience and joining the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Yeah.
Master.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Abhishek, and thank you, Jayan, sir. Thank you
Bye.
very much. Thank you, Bhaskar, sir.